sometimes selling on Amazon feels like it's one of the worst things you can do for your mental health, especially when they think you're selling fake products, but you just source them from a retail store so you know they're new, but you still have to prove it to them because you're guilty until proven innocent on Amazon. So today I want to go over one of those cases with you guys. Fortunately, this isn't one of my IP claims that I'm dealing with right now. Those should be resolved, but Amazon is being such a butt about it. I'm literally going to have to get on the phone with someone from seller support. This is actually a different type of claim. It's a counterfeit claim or an inventory claim where Amazon basically, for whatever reason, thinks that I'm selling counterfeit goods and I have to prove to them the supply chain of that item. But I'll show you all of that because we're just going to walk through the email chain that I had with Amazon. Should have been enough from day one, but ended up taking me just over a month to complete from February 1st to March 2nd. I also need my coffee because I got to shoot this video and at least one more today because it's something that I'll probably share in a different video coming down the road about how I'm incentivizing myself to work more because working in the van sucks. Also gotta stay in a clean van, am I right, people? Yikes. Alright, so I think I finally figured out the stinking microphone so that even if I'm talking pretty loud, it's not going to clip. And that's just because of some sound settings that I had that I thought were master sounds, but were for a different input device. Also, that wasn't the microphone audio, that was still my shotgun mic, but... Alright, so I think I finally figured out the stinking microphone. That should be a lot better. Finally. Gosh, Anthony, it took you long enough. Alright, this is going to be one of my least favorite things. I'm going to have to redact so much stuff in post, but let's just dive into what these emails say, because you might have even gotten some of these emails yourself. You can see this is a pretty long email chain because these are all the emails that we have to go through, the ones that are unread, because I unread them. The first one said, your FBA inventory, which is always a little bit scary, because you know either something is changing with how they're dealing with your inventory, or you have to deal with the freaking claim like this. Also, there are a bunch of dogs barking outside, because there's a ton of vans here with a bunch of dogs, so if you hear that, just know it's them, but appreciate the little B-roll that I was able to capture of them earlier, because they're stinking cute. But it says hello, and I have my storefront name. They said, we are writing to let you know that you have fulfillment by Amazon inventory that is under review for authenticity, not inauthenticity. During this review, your listings may be deactivated and you will be unable to initiate a removal request for any impacted inventory. And that actually brings me to a question that I get all the time for people who are dealing with IP claims or something like this, where you're not going to have access to your inventory while they're researching it. And if you do have an IP claim, they are going to research it. And the way that you can actually check that, and I get this all the time, please do this before you ask me why your inventory isn't showing up, even though you sent it in. Click into the SKU on the Manage Inventory page. This little blue thing right here is now purple because I clicked on it. That's what you click into. It'll bring you over to this page, which has the SKU level details. And down here, you could see inventory and then the inventory breakdown. The FBA inventory breakdown, you'll see the total, how many you have available, how many are inbound, meaning on their way to Amazon, how many are reserved for whatever reason, and there's a subcategory down here that we'll get to, how many are unfulfillable, meaning that probably a customer returned it and you can't sell it again, and how many are in researching, which is what happens with the inventory that I was having to deal with. Since I got that released, I can't really show you that it's in researching, but more than likely, if you're dealing with the claim, that's where your inventory is going to be. It's going to be in FBA inventory researching. But if you have it reserved, this is where your inventory is probably going to be. If you sent it to Amazon and it's not showing up, you have customer order, FC transfer, where it's going from one fulfillment center to another, or FC processing, where they're just checking it all in, or dealing with any sort of processing that it might have to do after the fact. So let's get back to this email thread. I think we're like 2 sentences in. It said, this review is separate from any action regarding the status of your account, which is really good because that means I'm not going to have to worry about my account getting deactivated. It's not like an IP claim, at least initially, where it's a massive deal that can't get my account shut down just for having this. This is just a review process that they're going through that they want me to submit documentation because if I'm selling on Amazon, I should have supply chain documentation, and we'll see what they're requesting here in a second. But this did make me feel a little bit more easy because if they confirm that it's counterfeit, that might have an impact on my account, but they're not trying to confirm it's counterfeit. They're just trying to make sure it is authentic. And this is one of the products that I had an IP claim for, and we talked about that in my IP claims video a while ago. But after I got the IP claim to state where I don't have to do any further action, now I have to deal with all this inauthenticity stuff. So it's a never-ending cycle of stress and stupidity with Amazon sometimes, especially when you're doing arbitrage. Then they said, if you do not respond to this message within 30 days, nothing crazy is going to happen. Just your inventory will be destroyed in accordance with the unsuitable inventory investigations policy. Honestly, haven't read this policy. Probably should read this policy, but I'm not gonna right now. And then I think this is where I messed up because I didn't fully read this. It just says your response should address all of the following ASINs. Actually, not this part, but it's just one ASIN. I don't sell it anymore. I think I got all of them removed to me. It's this yoga mat. I bought it from Burlington. You'll see that in a second. But yeah, it's just a workout mat. One of these things. And there were 2 of them, and I have to deal with that quantity. So if there was like 15 of them, and maybe I bought them over a couple different orders, I would have to show receipts showing all of that. But first, they're going to tell me why this is happening. They said, we're considering this action because we have determined that your inventory may be counterfeit. The sale of counterfeit products is strictly prohibited, and items sold on Amazon must adhere to all applicable laws and Amazon policies. Failure to abide by these policies may result in loss of selling privileges, funds being withheld, destruction of inventory in our fulfillment centers, and other legal consequences. Also, they just turned British on us over here. Centers? Why did they spell it like that? This is all honestly pretty standard Amazon language. And then they say, how do I demonstrate authenticity? This is really what we're worried about and what we have to prove. Is that in order to demonstrate the authenticity, in order to demonstrate the authenticity of your inventory, please provide supply chain documents demonstrating that your inventory consists of genuine products. Supply chain documents aren't necessarily supplier invoices, as we'll get to, because they say a plan of action is not necessary, which is always good. Don't like having to write those. Those are pain in the butts. And there's no required format for your response. Please submit documents such as invoices and receipts. You may remove pricing information, but the rest of the document must be visible. For ease of our review, you may highlight or circle ASINs under review, which is always what I'd recommend doing. I would always recommend highlighting or circling whatever it is that you're sending into Amazon, because Amazon is not very smart, especially since so much of it is automated. It just is a pain in the butt to have to work with. So easier you can make it on them, the easier you'll make it on yourself, because you're the one having to deal with all this crap. They don't really care about you. This is where I messed up, because I really only read that and I was like, oh, that's enough. But it says supplier information, including supplier name, phone number, address, and website, item descriptions, item quantities, import and export documentation such as bills of lading. I don't know what that is. Commercial invoices and packing lists, brand letter of authorization for your use of the trademark, design, patent, or copyright. You should only send PDF, JPEG, PNG, or GIF files. GIF, sorry, don't know how to pronounce that. Argue about it in the comments, please. These documents must be authentic and unaltered. How do I send the required information? And it says, within 30 days of notification, submit this to inventory-appeals@amazon.com. Then the big question on everyone's mind, what happens if I don't submit the requested information? It says, if within 30 days of original notification, we do not receive the requested information, or you are unable to demonstrate the authenticity of your products, the relevant inventory under review may be destroyed in accordance with the unsuitable inventory investigations policy. Basically what they already said up here. And then they say, we are here to help. They always say that. I don't exactly know what they think they mean by that. It says, if you have any questions, please review the following policies in Seller Central. And then this is the policy. It's not long. I'll read it. And if there's anything interesting, I'll share it with you guys. Honestly, nothing super interesting in this policy. The only thing that I could say might be a little bit interesting is that they say, we may release the hold on your inventory or allow you to request that it be returned to you if we determine that it is not violated the policy. I don't quite understand why that's not just, we will return it to you because it's your inventory. I don't know. That seems dumb. But back to the emails and what I did after receiving this email. But first, as always, they say, has this review been conducted in error? And it's almost never going to be stated by Amazon that it was an error. They don't really care if you think that's the case, honestly, most of the time. So always just have to deal with it like it's not. You can always try to dispute it, but I wouldn't even worry about it. So that was the first. And so on that same day, February 1st, like not that long later, I just thought I had to submit a receipt. So I said, good morning. I received a request to submit documentation regarding the supply chain of the above ASIN. Attaches the receipt to show authenticity. And then I put my LLC, and here's my receipt that I put, literally just a receipt. All I did was highlight the 3 things, even though they only asked for 2. I bought 3 of them, so I just highlighted all 3 of them. And it's really good because you can see here that it says Yoga Mat 4mm pink, and you can see Nicole Miller NM, and then it is from Burlington, so you have that receipt there. But if you remember, that's not actually all that they asked for, and I didn't quite remember that, but we'll get to that in a second. Annoyingly, though, they never responded to that email, even though I emailed it to Inventory Appeals at Amazon, which is exactly what they asked me to do. And so 15 days later, February 15th, because they said I had 30 days, they sent me a follow-up email. And this email said, hello, my storefront name. We're writing to follow up on the email we sent 15 days ago regarding the authenticity of ASIN listed below. Please reply to this email within 15 days, otherwise your inventory listed will be destroyed. And then it's the same thing, basically the exact same email down here. So I just responded to that email. So I think they said up here, it says, yeah, please reply to this email within 15 days, otherwise your inventory listed below will be destroyed. So they said this email, which is kind of weird. And then down here, it says give it to Inventory-Appeals. And since they didn't respond to me at all when I sent it just straight up to Inventory Appeals, like they asked me to, I responded to that email as well. And so right under it, you can see it said, good morning. I previously responded to the email I was requested to respond to from the first email. Very confusing sentence. Maybe should have clarified a little bit more. It said, I will send the same message here. I received the requested inventory. I just copy pasted and then submitted the receipt again. And then pretty immediately, I just got a mail null, no subject reply. It says, dear customer, this is an automated email messages that have been sent. Oh, that's so weird. Yeah, so this will not be addressed. That says the Audible team. I didn't even notice that the first time, but I guess Audible is the one who's... That's so odd. Kind of funny. Amazon owns Audible, so I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, just because I figured that would be the case, I actually just redid that same email. I said, good morning. I received a request to submit documentation regarding supply chain, blah, 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 blah. I just did the exact same email on the 15th of February instead of just on the 1st. Oh, I don't need to favorite that. That's not my favorite email. And then, annoyingly, on the 15th, which makes sense because of what we'll get to, they said, hello, we received your submission, but do not have enough information to complete our review of the listings at this time. In order to demonstrate the authenticity of your listing or of your inventory, please provide the information. And then they just said the exact same thing over and over again. And finally, this time, got through my freaking thick skull up here that I have to respond to all of that, not just send a receipt, because they ask for more information than just a freaking receipt. So to make my life easy, I literally just copy pasted all of this, and then I went over into an email, and I sent an email, good evening, because this was March 1st, 8 days ago. I guess it took me a minute to respond. Actually, wait, I did that email because on the 1st, I got another email because I thought that I had completed this. I must have like missed one of these. It says, we're ready to follow up on an email we sent 25 days ago. So the same thing that they just sent 15 days out. Now they're just saying, hey, you only have 5 days left. You better freaking respond to this, boy. And I was like, oh, I probably should respond to this. So I just copy pasted it and said, I received an email saying I had not submitted documentation. I previously sent it in an email, but here it is again. And so all I did was copy paste it, and then underneath it, I bolded what my responses were. So it says, please provide supply chain documentation for the following ASINs listed in our email. Purchased at Burlington New, shown via receipt, and sent immediately to Amazon FBA Fulfillment Center. So that's just the supply chain. And then invoices and receipts, you may remove pricing information, but the rest of the document may be visible. I just said attached below. Next, supplier information. I just put Burlington Coat Factory. You also have to put the name and the address. I said corporate address, and then I put their corporate address. This is all copy pasted, which is why it's formatted super weird. Then address of purchase. I just put the address that I purchased it in Orlando, the phone number of Orlando, and then their website. Item descriptions were workout mats for yoga. Item quantities, 3 purchased in total, 2 are an investigation, 3 shown on receipt. Import-export documentation, didn't have any. Then I said attaches the receipt, and then I put the same receipt down there. And then finally, because I actually did what they wanted me to do, they sent me this last email that I don't even think I've opened. I just saw the header of. It says, Amazon, your inventory appeal. Hello, Anthony. Thank you for your appeal. After completing our investigation and reviewing the information you provided, we have released the hold on your inventory. You may manage this inventory on the Manage Inventory section. Merchant Credit Team. Why are these all such weird teams? What the heck? Just put the right team. Amazon doesn't know how to put the right email signature. What the heck? So if Amazon thinks that you're selling fake inventory, they're probably going to send you an email like that. Pretty much just copy paste what they sent you, send your information, and you should be good. Even just with the receipt, you don't need to worry about actually having like supplier invoices or anything crazy like that, which is really nice as a retail arbitrage seller. If you are interested in how to deal with IP claims and how I'm working through those, check out this video over here. I'm still in the process of working out one of those, but I also explain how I've gotten rid of them or gotten rid of them to the best of my ability, and I'll have more videos coming out about that as I continue to deal with these freaking people over at Amazon who don't know how to do their jobs. Still too hot, way too hot. Oof. Whew. Peace.